Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Jo Re Mi Fa Sol La Keto. I'm Jo Re and I do vlogs and meal prep videos to share my keto health journey. A couple weeks ago, I posted a video where I made keto chow lemon bars and I got a lot of really good comments on that, so I decided that I'm gonna make another dessert today. So this week I am making 2 meals and a dessert. The first meal is going to be pulled pork sandwiches with a spicy coleslaw, and I'm gonna use Chaffles for the bread. The second meal I'm making are chicken wings, but instead of a buffalo chicken wing this time, I'm gonna make some spicy, sticky Asian wings. With wings, I usually like to have some kind of veggie side. A lot of times I'll make Brussels sprouts or things like that, but this time I decided that I wanted to make House of Keto's weight loss salad. If you watch Abby on TikTok, you might have seen this recipe before. She made it at Keto Friendsgiving in Memphis and it was so good. But it really is just like a veggie salad with feta and dill, so I'll show all the ingredients in just a minute. And for dessert, I am making a blueberry dump cake. So let's go ahead and show all of the ingredients that we're gonna be using today. So here are all the ingredients for the recipes that we have today. Although there are kind of a lot of ingredients, putting everything together this week is gonna be pretty easy. The actual cooking is pretty easy. It's more chopping and mixing, honestly. So I have cheat sheets this time because I'm not remembering all the ingredients. But we're gonna start over here on this side with the pulled pork. So for the pulled pork itself, we have the actual pork. We have some ground mustard. I'm gonna use some bouillon. Instead of like a chicken broth, I actually bought some this week. I'm gonna be using for the barbecue sauce, the G Hughes sugar-free barbecue sauce. This one is the sweet and spicy. That one's my favorite. And then there is gonna be some apple cider vinegar in the pulled pork. For the coleslaw, this is a recipe from Keto Sam I Am. So in that we have some cabbage, we have some jalapenos, green onions, mayo. I didn't have any prepared ahead of time. I have this. I know that this is barely any olive oil, so I'm gonna cut it with some sour cream so it's not as much of the not so great mayo. We also have some Grey Poupon, some vinegar, and a low carb sweetener, which I think I'm probably gonna use allulose this time. I haven't really tried allulose in these, but I've heard it tastes like the most like sugar, so I'm gonna try that. This recipe also calls for some cumin and chili powder. I feel like cumin overpowers things a little bit, so I'm gonna skip the cumin, but I probably will add the chili powder, which I'm gonna have to grab it and put it out here. In the middle here, we have the wings. So I have the chicken wings already right here. And then for the sauce that goes on the wings, it's gonna use water, some rice wine vinegar, some soy sauce. Oh wait, this is the sesame oil. My soy sauce is right here. Some xanthan gum. I'm gonna try Terra gum this time. It's really a thickener like xanthan gum, but I heard it doesn't make it as like jello-y, if that's even a word. Some brown sugar, some keto brown sugar in there, some ground ginger. I have my crushed ginger, so I'm gonna use a little bit of fresh there, and some garlic chili sauce. So that's my garlic chili sauce here. And then some sesame oil, which I already showed you. And then for the salad, Abby's weight loss salad, this is really just a lot of veggies mixed together. So I have cucumber here. This is an English cucumber. I really like these because they don't have as many seeds, so it doesn't like water it down, and it's just more, well, it's just less seeds. And then I have some peppers here. I have a red one and a yellow. That is orange, an orange pepper. Then I also have some cherry tomatoes right here. And then what else is in there? A red onion is in there. And then we have some dill, some fresh dill, and some feta cheese. There'll also be some apple cider vinegar in that, as well as some olive oil. So it's really just chopping and throwing everything together for that recipe. And then on my wings, I am gonna just do, salt, pepper. I have some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and then some baking powder. If you remember from my last video, baking powder does help the chicken crisp up a bit, so I'm gonna use some of that. And then for the dessert recipe over here is the blueberry dump cake. So I have my blueberries here. It's kind of hard to see. There we go, blueberries. We're gonna use frozen, that's what this recipe calls for. I have some coconut flour, almond flour, a sweetener of your choice. So here's the sweetener, some lemon juice. I don't know why I put it over here, but the lemon juice, some more baking powder, and some cinnamon, some salt, and some butter. So the first thing I'm gonna get started is the pulled pork, because that's gonna take the longest. Then we'll get the wings in the oven, and then I'll just be doing a lot of chopping mostly. So let's get started. So to get started, we're gonna go ahead and put the spice rub on the pork. I already mixed this up. So in here we have some brown sugar swerve, some salt, pepper, paprika, crushed red pepper flakes, some ground mustard, and some garlic powder. And in my Instapot right now, I have it set on the saute setting. I have some avocado oil in there getting warm. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this dry rub onto my pork, and then we're gonna get these all sauteed. I have browned all the sides, wanted to try to crisp them up a little bit. We're going to add our chicken broth and our apple cider vinegar. And then we're gonna add our pork back in there. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on the pressure setting for 1 hour, and then we're gonna let it natural release. I always do this backwards. So next we're gonna get started on the wings. I usually like to get things like that are gonna be in the oven or in the Instapot for the longest amount of time and get those in there first. So I already have my spice rub put together, and this is baking powder, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and some paprika. So really kind of basic there. And I'm going to mix this on my chicken wings. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the oven at 425 for about 40 minutes. And then we'll see how crisp they are. All of these recipes are going to be linked in the description below if you'd like to follow any of them. So next we're gonna get started on chopping up all the veggies for the coleslaw and for Abby's cucumber salad. Overall, that took me like 15 minutes to chop everything up. The salad is almost done. We just got to add the last of our ingredients. I will put a link to Abby's video that explains how she makes this, but honestly, she doesn't give any kind of measurements. I just watch the picture, and then I'm gonna add all of the other seasonings as I guess I see fit. First, we're gonna start with some garlic powder. Gosh, I have no idea how much to put this. That looks like enough to me. Then we're gonna put some Italian seasoning. Then we're gonna add our feta cheese. And we're gonna add our apple cider vinegar. She says a whole cup, so that just seems like a lot, but that's the only measurement she really gives. And there we go. This salad is done. Like, this was honestly just a lot of chopping. And this is so good, it's really flavorful. And the longer you let it sit, the better it tastes. So next we're going to get started on the coleslaw. Okay, so we already have our green onions and our jalapenos in here. The recipe called for 5 jalapenos, and I got 2. I totally didn't look at it. 5 just seems like a lot. I like spice, but I mean, we'll see. I think this should be fine. I don't think I put 5 in it before, but here we go. I have a coleslaw mix, so I'm just gonna add this in there. And you know what? I don't think I'm gonna be able to stir this, so I'm gonna put this into a bigger bowl. So here we are, I got a bigger bowl. So for the sauce portion, I'm going to add our mayo and sour cream. So it calls for 2/3 of a cup. So I'm just gonna kind of do like half and half. Half of the mayo and half of some sour cream. So next we're gonna add our apple cider vinegar and our sweetener. I just realized several of our recipes had apple cider vinegar in it today. Today I'm using allulose, and allulose doesn't measure 1 for 1. You need a little bit more allulose to equal like 1 cup of like real sugar or any of your other sugar substitutes. So I did 1 tablespoon and then added a little bit extra. We're also gonna add our mustard. I'm gonna add a couple shakes, it says, of some chili powder, and then some salt and pepper to taste. So here's some salt. So one thing I forgot in the cucumber salad was salt and pepper, so I'm gonna add that really quick. Okay, and then we're gonna stir all of this up, and there's our coleslaw. So we're gonna get started on the sauce, but don't these wings look great? They look so like brown and crispy. I'm super excited about that. But I'm gonna go ahead, really all you do is add all of the ingredients to your saucepan and then let it thicken up. Add a little bit of your Terra gum or the Xanthan gum, and it's gonna take about 10 minutes or so for it to thicken up. So let's get started on that. So I mixed everything in the saucepan. I'll kind of show you real quick how it looks. Can't even see that. Don't try to burn myself. But we're gonna let that cook and thicken for a while. And in the meantime, I'm gonna clean up a little bit and then we can get this dump cake started. Okay, so for my dump cake, I already have my blueberries in here. I think the recipe says to put everything in a separate bowl and then move it over, and I'm just not gonna do that. So first we're gonna mix a little bit of lemon juice in here with our sweetener. So next, I already have all of my dry ingredients mixed together. So that is the coconut flour, the almond flour, baking powder, cinnamon, and a little bit of salt. And the recipe actually says to pour this on and then pour the melted butter. If you read the comments within Pinterest, a lot of people said mix it together. Otherwise, this does end up still being floury and it doesn't really work out. So I'm gonna mix these together. That was my butter. And then we're gonna put this and crumble it on top. So then we're just gonna bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes. And it says you can top with some whipped cream if you like. So we only have a couple things left to do. So first is gonna get the sauce on all of these chicken wings. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this pulled pork out of the Instant Pot. Smells really good. There we go. They're all nice and mixed. This is gonna be so good. I can smell them already. So now let's get this pulled pork out of the Instant Pot. Okay, the recipe says to let it sit for about 5 minutes before you shred it, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna start shredding the pork over here. I did end up chopping up some scallions because I do want to put those on my wings. But we're gonna go ahead and get this shredded, and you can see it's just falling apart. It's gonna be really easy to shred. Okay, I'm gonna add the rest of what's in here, just to like keep everything moist. But when it is time to eat, I probably will add a little bit more of the barbecue sauce, you know, to my sandwich when I make it. You could also put this in like a bowl. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sandwich or on a chaffle. And there you have it. There's our shredded pork. I'm gonna take a little bite just to see. That's so good. Turned out great. Okay, so I'm gonna try the wings first, along with the salad. So I can't wait for that. Let's try the salad first. Here we go. It's so good. The vinegar gives it a kick. I might add a little bit more feta cheese in here, but this is something that, I don't know, it's just veggies. Very light and I'm not sure the salad necessarily goes with like Asian wings, but I wanted a side of some kind of veggies and I was just in a mood for this salad this week. And now on to these wings. Oh my goodness, those look awesome. That sauce is really flavorful. What I may do in the future is leave my sauce on the side until it's time to cook these, because when you let them sit in there, the skin does get a little bit soggy. But I mean, I'm still gonna eat it. I should get everywhere. But the sauce is really good. I don't feel like it's very spicy. I'm sure if you added like sriracha as a part of that sauce, you could get it a little bit spicy, spicier. But I feel like the tarragon did a good job. I mean, it was pretty thick. It mixed up really well. It didn't seem like really kind of more gelatin-like, which I think xanthan gum sometimes gives that texture. And I wanted to show you this before I tried it. So this is that blueberry crumble. Like, that looks so good. It browned up and everything. So I went ahead and just put a little bit onto the plate. It's still kind of steaming. It looks kind of hot, but I want to try this. I want to try a little bit of just that like crumble part, because I know there was no sweetener in it. don't know, I think I would add some sweetener in that. But when you mix it all up, because the sweetener's really with the blueberries, it tastes really good. Oh, whipped cream. Ooh, there we go. Okay, now let's. I like the textures all together. And the thing about this too is it was pretty easy to make. Like you really did just mix it all in one container pretty easily. There wasn't a lot of like prepping or other things that you had to do. You really just put the blueberries in. I think the recipe says to grease your pan and all this stuff. I didn't do that, and it ended up coming out fine. So I don't know. I always feel like there's a ton of extra steps that are maybe would help, but aren't necessarily like required. But even as I'm standing here, I find myself reaching for other bites. So blueberries do have carbs in them. You do have to be careful. I would say that's kind of several servings, and the small amount that I had is probably all you need. I don't know about you. I don't like to really gorge myself on sweets, but it's nice to have something little to get that kind of dessert filling every once in a while. So I feel like I don't need like a humongous portion anyway. I just kind of want like a little taste. So the last thing I need to try is the pulled pork and the coleslaw sandwich. I don't have time right now to do it, but I'm gonna come back later tonight and then we can put one together and give that a try. Okay, everybody, it is the next day. I did not have time to come back and make the pulled pork sandwich, so I'm gonna make it today for lunch. So first we're gonna make the chaffle. I've already put together my chaffle mixture into this bowl. The recipe for my chaffles is in the description below. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. I know I've made them in several other videos, but I'm gonna go ahead and put these together, and then we're gonna get our toppings on the sandwich. Okay, so my chaffles should be done now. All the steam is gone. Okay, there we go. Let me unplug this. And there's my chaffle. I mean, it's pretty, you kind of hear it. It is crispy on the outside. So this is what we're gonna use as our bread today. And over here, I already have my pulled pork mixture. I did add some barbecue sauce in there and then microwaved it so it's a little bit warm and not, cold. So let's add this onto our chaffle. So I think sometimes when you're making a sandwich, we tend to go under on how much protein we need. So I usually measure out the protein so I can know that I'm getting enough. And honestly, there's a little bit left. I could try to get it onto the chaffle, or I can just eat it by itself later. And then we're gonna add our coleslaw on top. I probably could have halved the recipe that I had for the coleslaw because you really don't need a ton on top of your sandwich, but you could always, put a little bit more into your bowl with the rest of the pulled pork and, eat that as a side. So let's get the top on. I'm probably gonna cut this in half because it's just easier to eat. Lots of extra stuff falling off, but here we are. Let me see. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and give this a try. It's so good. Like I said before, it is a little bit messy. You really could just put the pulled pork and your coleslaw in a bowl and just eat it with a fork. You could also use a low-carb tortilla if that's something that you decide to put into your diet, those low-carb tortillas. You could use an egg life wrap. I like the chaffles because it makes me feel like I'm eating just a normal sandwich. But this is so good that coleslaw is a little bit spicy, and I love having a kick to it. With the pulled pork, the barbecue sauce that I added also had some spice to it, so everything just tastes really good. I feel like I'm eating a normal sandwich, but it's all keto. Okay, well that's all that I have for the week. So please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon to get a notification every time I post a new video. I will see you next week. Bye.